There is no one who is able to change man from a descendant nature of his forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. No European can take you into a lab and make you out of some type of other kind of Negro. Can't do it. Unless he, like he said, he created himself. Verse 12. These holy and divine laws are from the Prophet Moorish Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Let's stop there. Now, sister, I understand, other people, they're part of the Washington Nation, part of the Nubian Nation, part of this ISIS thing. If they're not members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, they would not be beneficiaries of the vast estate trust. They have to be. We're going to read the conditions from verse 8 through 17. We're going to read the conditions of the trust. We know they can't be Negro, black, or colored. They can't be that. But there's also some other conditions. He knew that the Moors were unstable up here and wanted to be in power. They're still fighting over power. So he said, okay, Moorish Science Temple of America, they're not dealing with that. Ain't no go. Ain't no go. It says right here, I'm going to read it again. Verse 12. These holy and divine laws are from the Prophet Moorish Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Verse 13. These laws are strictly preserved by the members of all temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America. They will learn to open their meetings and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now, right there it tells me only, now he's talking to the beneficiaries of this trust, this vast estate that he named from 1 to 7. He's telling them that they have to be in accordance to the laws, holy divine laws of the Prophet, but which ties into the divine constitution and bylaws, which ties back to Act 6, ties back to Act 4. If you persons know their divine constitution bylaws, they know exactly what I'm saying. We must be in accordance to the 5 principles, which is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If we're not, then we cannot be beneficiaries of this vast estate. Regardless of what you believe. Verse 14. Every subordinate temple of the grand major temple is to form under the covenant love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet Moorish Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn the Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before the great and awful day that is sure to come. Now, this is another again. It has to be according to the 5 universal laws. But also you have to be a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America. You cannot be anything else. Because nothing else owns this land. The Prophet is the only creditor, only freeholder, and only person who is the holding due course of all commercial instruments on this planet. Not just in this country, on this planet. That's why they have no seat for the Prophet at the United Nations, because those are all debtor nations. They own the Prophet. You know what I'm saying? He can't sit amongst the debtors. No, he's a creditor. So a creditor sits away from a debtor. Don't he? Right. He sits away from his ass. He said, he owe me. You know what I'm saying? That's where the Prophet operated. So the United Nations were created out of the Geneva Convention. The Geneva Convention was formed because what the Prophet did to him in 1928. Defeat simple absolute deed. When he got this back, the land was called the Land Mandate at Havana, Cuba, 1920. That's when the Moorish Science Temple became a state. The prophet, different. It became a state.
Well, those numbers were, those numbers were before they had.
I'm sorry, could you speak up?
To describe the prophet.
Right.
They had a Bible number which identified it.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they did. That's just what these numbers were, the book and pages, and how you describe.
Where do you find that at now?
Huh?
Where would you get your Bible number?
Well, now they have document numbers. You know what I'm saying? That is based on what they did after 1985. The touring system ended in Cook County in 1985.
Okay, I understand that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, they still have Bible numbers that has to go back to the original prophet, which you have with this one. So where would you get it for other properties? This is a page that is not number.
Well, it depends when they were recorded. You see what I'm saying? When they were recorded before 1985, then it probably would look like they were different page, different book.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Number.
That number from the county. Where would you get that from the tax assessor?
Well, you talking about this particular document?
No, the Bible number that document has as well. What if you wanted to take your property back to the original?
You talking about anything after 1985? What you're saying?
Yeah.
Then you do what you have to do. You have to rehearse Smith Revised Statute Law. You know what I'm saying? You have to convey it back to this number, the number I just showed you. You have to convey it back. And once you convey it back, then you amend by resolution to that number. You have to put it as an amendment. You see what I'm saying? And but it have to be the Moorish Science Temple America as the conveyance holder of the property. And then you be as trustee. You see what I'm saying? Now, the thing is that the Geneva Convention was formed in 1929, 1930. Geneva Convention. 1930, after the beast received a wound with no understanding. The prophet had knocked him out cold by 1929. Well, that's the number 228. 1929, the prophet had gave the beast a wound that he had no understanding to this day. He still don't understand what happened to him. The Geneva Convention was formed out of the bankruptcies around the planet. Everybody came together, Europeans with the United States and other countries as well, formed what is called the Geneva Convention. They said this is based on if the country goes in war with each other, there are rules of engagement, rules of how they would handle war prisoners and what have you. All that's included. But the real demonstration is because of debt. Of debt. Now, the United Nations, because you remember before the United Nations, what was it?
It was the League of Nations.
The League of Nations. That's right. The United Nations is the debt of nations. It's when the debt, the admiralty, debt of nations. So, in actuality, could the Moorish Science Temple be a member of the United Nations? In actuality, could it be?
No.
Well, it couldn't. It's a debt. It's not debt. It's not a debt. It's not a debtor nation. So, debtor nations are members. Debtor nations. They are in debt to who? The Moors. Right, they're in debt to the Moors. So they had to, the United States had to reflect that on the dollar bill of 1933 when Franklin D. Roosevelt drew our seal, Great Seal, back onto that dollar bill showed that we had a contract with these guys. And we must renew the contract. I'm saying, now they got to be in charge. We ain't gonna tell them nothing, you know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna tell them they're in charge, but they are in charge because they are the creditor. We are what the prophet is. He said, don't call your children Ali because he is the freeholder. And by him being the freeholder, he adopted the eels and babes and do what's called law inheritance. Whatever your forefather was or had, possessions he had, you have based on inheritance. So by inheritance, he gave us back all our land. So he was Ali. Father. Ali was the father. And eels and babes are adopted children. They are adopted children. So you're going to be either or, not E or bay. There's no such thing as E or bay. He's either eel or bay. Ali can't be Ali. You're not the father. Only one he left the inheritance to was eels and babes. He adopted them, took them as his children. So by inheritance rights and laws, all the beneficiaries of the trust and will goes back to the children. They receive whatever the father has. So chapter 47 of the Holy Quran, Circle 7, is the condition of the trust of the Prophet of Jali Bass Estate Express Trust. Those are the conditions. And Act 6 is the conveyance deed that assures that proper conveyance of property is took place. Because once you proclaim your nationality by verbally, that's a contract. You know what I'm saying? You have verbal contract. So Act 6 is the conveyance deed of the prophet. Act 6. Eels and babes are the only ones, not no days and owls and all these Moors come up with all these Moorish names and families that the prophet didn't even mention. He mentioned eels and babes. He didn't mention the days, the owls, and definitely he was the only Ali. So if they have any other names, they have those particular names, days, which is D-E-Y, the owls, or Ali, they cannot be a beneficiary of the trust. Can't be. It's either or. Not both. Either or. These you cannot. This is a misnomer by a lot of Moorish people around the country. Call themselves the Days. The Days existed. They're Algerians, but they had their own contractual agreement with the United States. The Prophet dealt with the Moroccan agreement. The Days and the Owls, they had their agreement with under the Algerian government. I'm saying they were considered Algerians. They weren't Moroccans. And these guys were out. They took themselves out. They said, we didn't want no, the United States said, we want to make an agreement with all you guys. Oh man, we got our own thing down here, you know what I'm saying? Come holler at us, you know what I'm saying? You do them guys too. You holler with us. So the Algerian government, which is